say I'll never change. I'm just to go around town with some gasoline, just trying to bomb a flame. Gonna burn the whole place down. And how do you explain ever falling in love with a guy like me in the first place? And turn around and say that I'm the worst thing. I guess I'm the problem. And your mess never do no wrong. If I'm so awful, then why'd you stick around this long? And if it's the whiskey, then why you keep on pulling it off the shelf? You hate that when you look at me, you halfway see yourself. And it got me thinking, if I'm the problem, well, you might be the reason. Try to go our separate ways, and we're back and forth like a swinging door, and tomorrow's like yesterday. Some days better than the night before, and you're back with me again. Then you go and tell your friends that I'm the problem, and your mess never do no wrong. If I'm so awful, then why'd you stick around this long? And if it's the whiskey, why you keep on pulling it off the shelf? You hate that when you look at me, you halfway see yourself. And it got me thinking, if I'm the problem, well, you might be the reason. If I'm such a waste of breath, such a waste of time, why you on your way to waste another Friday night? If I'm the problem.
What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. It is a beautiful day today to watch JJ McCarthy on some primetime Sunday night football, but that is what I'm excited for. Obviously, a lot of fantasy football stuff to talk about today as well. Hopefully, you guys are excited, ready for another big week of fantasy football and getting this thing going. Hopefully, getting those fantasy football teams off on the right foot. If you didn't last week in week 1, getting that bounce back game here in week 2. But look, Sunday morning, as we always do, we'll go through the games. We'll talk about, start sits that you guys are struggling with, get you guys some answers there, go through my rankings, talk a little bit about all of that stuff. Maybe talk some injuries, guys who are getting some reports coming in of questionable outs, things like that. And just shoot the shit, man, before the games start. We got about an hour of time today and a lot of stuff to talk about. Appreciate everybody being in here early. Jay, Sod, Brando, everybody in the chat, appreciate you. And I will tell you guys, too, if you guys do want to support the show, I'm going to hit it with you early on because I want to get to the questions and I want them to roll. But if you want to support the show, League FFB over on Underdog, new customers who play $5 using that promo code, they get $50 in bonus cash. And, oh, by the way, Underdog is so cool. They will give you a gimme pick as well. So if you're looking for some things to root for today outside of your fantasy football teams, this is the best way to do it. Support the show. Use promo code LeagueFFB, like I said, over on Underdog. But, hey, TD, let's do it, man. I see you in the chat. Let's get to these questions, and let's get this thing rolling. Jay says, hell yeah, boys. Let's do her big today. I appreciate it. And like the live, mofos. Hell yeah. Let's get it. So the first question that I have in here is from Sod. Sod says, full PPR, Strange or Fannin. The Bengals are terrible against tight ends, but Fannin's utilization is crazy. It's a harder matchup. Can't decide who to start. So I have had this question a couple of times this week so far. I am going with Strange. He is the guy that I do have in my lineups. I have him as my tight end 10 on the week. I do have Harold Fannin a little bit lower. I want to see the utilization. I want to see the usage from Fannin one more time. I know that sounds crazy, but last year we had, Isaiah Likely, week 1 superhero, came out here, gave you all of the stuff that we wanted to see, and then the rest of the year really wasn't the guy that we wanted. So week 1 became the anomaly. So I know Fannin had the good week. I know the utilization is there. I just kind of want to see it one more time. That's all I'm saying with Fannin. So I am going with Strange, and I do think the matchup is good for him. Brando says, full PPR, half-point tight end premium. So in Dynasty, I have Bowers, Okonkwo, and Loveland. Should I start not Brock and then flex Brock if he plays over Pollard, Rome, or Javonte? I would definitely be waiting on Bowers and probably I'd probably be waiting on Bowers. I'd be trying to do that. And then would you play him if he plays over Pollard, Rome, or Javonte? I would probably play him over Pollard of those guys. Hopefully I understood that question, Brando. Says should be a great day for some football. How do we feel about Henderson this week from Heavy Metal? Let's see. In my rankings right now, I do think he has a pretty decent chance to have a big game. Miami's defense looked pretty bad last week. However, unpopular opinion for the folks at home, I think Miami gets it back on track this week. I think they beat the New England Patriots. That's going to be my upset of the week, I think. I think Miami, as bad as it was week 1, ends up beating New England this week. So I think they're actually favored in the sports books. It's like basically a 50-50 split, but I do think that they end up winning that game. So I think he can be a boom bust running back 2 for you right now. Let's see. Jeffrey, my guy, appreciate you being here, man. He says full PPR, Nico, London, Sutton, and Keenan. You need to start 3 of them. As good as Keenan Allen was last week, this one's easy for me. It's going to be Nico, London, and Sutton. Those are going to be the guys that I play. I do have Nico as a top 7 wide receiver this week. I have London as a top 8 wide receiver this week. And Sutton comes in for me at 20. Keenan Allen is lower than that. So I think the only one in question would have been maybe Sutton, but I'm still going to be playing him over Keenan this weekend. Brando says, yeah, I worded that kind of weird. It's all good, man. It's all good. It's the morning. I don't blame you. Depending on where you're at, which coast you're on, too. It could be way earlier than it is for me, even. I really wanted to start Drake May this week over Patrick Mahomes simply because of the upside. What do you think? I don't hate the idea. I will say, looking at my rankings right now, though, I do have May over Mahomes. So I think the matchup versus Philly is tough for Mahomes. It should be a pretty good game. However, I think that game probably is low scoring. So I probably am going to go with May over Mahomes. I wouldn't be surprised if Mahomes outscores him just because he is Mahomes at the end of the day, but I don't hate it. I think if you're feeling that way, it supports it in my rankings as well this week. Got a long one. Sorry in advance. All good. PPR pick 2. You got Devontae Adams, Kenneth Walker, Jerry Jeudy, Pearsall, Keenan Allen, Sharp, Tracy. Pearsall, no Purdy, no Kittle, Jennings supposed to play. Okay. I mean, I do like Pearsall this week, given the circumstances. I will say that. But when I'm looking at this group of guys, I know Devontae Adams is the highest in my rankings right now. Devontae is my wide receiver 19. Outside of that, though, at the wide receiver position, I do have Pearsall over Jeudy. And I don't think I really want to play the game right now with the Seattle backfield until we see some certainty. So, yeah, I mean, if it's me, man, in a PPR league, I'm going Adams and Pearsall. I agree with you. I think Miami has a bounce back as well, but I think the Pats can hang in there and score 24-ish points or so. Yeah, it should be a good game, but I have a feeling Miami gets a dub this week. That's my spoiler alert, too. And if you're playing in the Pick'em League with us over here at the League FFB community, I picked Miami to win this game. So there you go. Saad says, thanks for the advice. Got another one for you. Half PPR. Got to bench one of these guys. I kind of love the bench questions more than the start questions. They're the same thing, but I think the bench one's more fun sometimes. Javonte, Pearsall, or Pickens. Or for some reason, it feels like the bench ones are easier than the start ones. I'm going to bench. It sounds scary. I'm benching Javonte. I think I would play Pearsall and Pickens. Would you start Loveland over Okonkwo? It's rough. Yes, I think so. But I have both of these guys as like low-end guys. Actually, you know what? I'm looking at it. I do have Okonkwo 3 spots higher than Loveland. It's just tough to tell. Loveland didn't get utilized a lot last week. So I guess go Okonkwo because we know he's in his full-time role. But that offense looks kind of bad at the moment. Who would you start at tight end? Andrews, Loveland, or Kincaid? Not Loveland. Probably not. Gonna be going with. It's between Andrews or Kincaid. I think I'm gonna play Kincaid over Andrews, just because I think he's gonna have a little bit more of a role. Let's see where we're at here. Brando says I'm in the UK still, so it's actually super late. Damn, dude. I feel like you've been over there for a long time. Hopefully everything's going well, though. But super late. You're going to be staying up and watching all these football games? Or are you going to go to sleep and then wake up and see the scores? Is that what you're going to do, Brando? PPR, Flex, Coleman, Ridley, Jones, Mason. I have the Rams defensive special team and Allen at quarterback. In the flex, I'm going to play Jones. I'm not playing Ridley. I'm not playing Coleman. I'm not playing Mason. It's between Jones and Mason, but I think I still like Jones in a full PPR. Let's see. Full PPR need to start two. Devonta Smith, Jamison Williams, or Keon Coleman. I'm going to go J-Mo and Devonta Smith. Again, kind of with Keon Coleman. He's a player that I'm not super in on off of a week one performance. I'm not chasing the points. I will say there is some pretty good data right now to support Devonta Smith in this game without Dallas Goedert. I will read it for you right here. Dating back to 2023, Devonta Smith has been especially productive in the 11 games that Dallas Goedert has been limited and or out. He has finished 6 and 99, 7 for 106 and a touchdown, 9 for 96, 3 for 64 and a touchdown, 6 for 85 and a touchdown, 4 for 87, 4 for 37 and a touchdown, 11 for 109 and a touchdown, 6 for 51, and 6 for 102 and 2 touchdowns. So this is one of those games where I think you can fire up Devonta Smith. I've talked a little bit about Devonta Smith being a guy that just isn't going to get a lot of volume. I think that changes, and the data supports that changes with Dallas Goedert out of the lineup. So I think you can play him fine, and I would play Jamison. On the same page, yep, I agree. Love the community and the feedback. Thanks, Andrew. Love you guys as the community, man. Appreciate it a lot, seriously. TD says PPR, Aaron Jones, Henderson, or Warren. My running back 2 struggle weekly right now. Yeah, that's a little bit of a struggle. It'll iron itself out over the course of the year. I think, obviously, as Henderson gets a little bit more involved. For me right now, I have all of these guys pretty much in the exact same tier. Henderson is my highest ranked player, just barely over Jaylen Warren, so I would play Trevion Henderson here. Richard says, what's up, man? Nick Chubb, Juwan Jennings, or Cedric Tillman in full PPR? Fire up Tillman. I like Tillman a lot as a play this week. It's not popular by, I think, a lot of people. I was in a Whatnot stream the other night with Andy Holloway, and he's not a fan of the Tillman play this week, but I like it. I think they're going to throw the football a lot, and he had a really good week last week. The data supports it going back to last year. He's a real player in this offense, so I like Tillman. DK or Odunze this week. I like DK more. You can trust the target share a little bit more. I definitely think the Dolphins have a big bounce back week. Could see Henderson getting a lot of receptions again. I agree. I think he has the most upside too of all of those plays. The thing that makes me favor Drake May this week over Mahomes is Miami having like no starters in their secondary, and Mahomes is playing the Eagles defense with almost no weapons. Exactly the same thoughts for me. Brees or Egbuka? That's a good question. Right now, I have Brees as my running back 13. Buffalo did give up a ton of points to the running back position last week, but it was Derrick Henry. So, let's calm down a little bit. But he is my running back 13. For Egbuka, I have him as my... Where is he? Wide receiver 19. So I think for me, if I'm trying to decide between the two, I'm going to go Brees, just barely, but it's close for me. Hold or sell Roman Wilson, 12 teams, start 9. State your case, please. Well, I'd be holding Roman Wilson. He's a second-year wide receiver. He's in an ambiguous wide receiver room with only Calvin Austin ahead of him. That's really the case for him. It's a 12-team league. That's the case you can have for him. It's not super strong, I get it, but I'm still holding. Yeah, always start Devonta Smith when Goddard is out. The data supports it. Devontae or Brock Bowers in my flex. Oh man, Caleb. I want to wait on Bowers, and if you can, the Michael Mayer pickup to just have Mayer is the safe route to go. If you are nervous and you don't want to wait on Bowers, I'm okay with you playing Devontae. I will say the injury report that I am looking at right now, Dr. Jesse Morse on Twitter, like him or you don't like him, he's pretty accurate with what he talks about. He does expect Brock Bowers to be in this week. So I would say probably go Bowers. He is most likely to play. I'm probably going to be watching all of the games except for the late ones. Got to work in the morning. Currently 4:40 p.m. for me. Luckily, I'm moving to Cali on the 30th, so that's exciting. Yeah, I mean, congratulations, man. That'll be dope. And good that you can still watch some football, man. He says, not a start-sit question, but I heard Jaden Daniels underwent an MRI on his knee. I heard the same thing. Are we concerned? I didn't watch the full game, so I didn't see any hit that would warrant an MRI. Minor concern. What I don't like is that has happened. That happened a couple days ago at this point, and we still don't have clarity. That's nerve-wracking a little bit. So yes, I would say my concern level is there. I'm going to put the concern level at a 3 out of 10, maybe a 3 out of 10 right now. He came into that game banged up though with a knee and a wrist injury. So that was concerning. Montgomery or Swift in PPR. I'm going to go with Swift. He just gets more of a workload. And I still think he can do more in the receiving game as well. Jameson Williams is the player I've been pulling my hair about these past few days. He's boom bust. So you're going to have to live with a guy like Jameson Williams who's going to go out there and give you a bad week, or he's going to give you a big week. Hopefully the Lions offense looks a little bit better this week. I'd like to see some steps towards some improvement. Hit the like button if you haven't already, fam. Like that. Appreciate you, Caleb. If we get 25 likes, I'll show up in the next AMA with Andrew. Caleb inviting himself to the stream. I like it, though. Yes, sir. What should I sell Odunze at? Dynasty redraft. I think I need some more clarity on where we're selling here, but I'll be honest, I'm not selling Odunze at the moment. I think his value is only going to increase over the course of the year. If you can type out a start sit, you can press that thumbs up. Damn straight. What week should I reach out to non-contending teams to acquire their elite players? 8-man league. It's going to just depend. Well, an 8-man league is a little bit different too, because it feels like your playoffs, pretty much every team is a playoff team for the most of the year. So I guess you need to just pay attention, keep tabs, communicate with those managers, see who's really in and who's not, because people will start wavering. When they do, you need to pounce. PPR, pick one. Tight end this week, Pitts, Henry, Fannin, Dalton Schultz, or Jake Ferguson. Looking at my tight end rankings, the highest guy in my rankings this week is Jake Ferguson. I have him as my tight end 8. I like the matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. Another question, should I bench one of Breece Hall, Tyreek, or DJ Moore for Javonte Williams? I'm toying with the idea of benching DJ Moore, but I still think I would play the wide receivers in a full PPR. Javonte had 2 touchdowns last week, and I don't think that's going to replicate itself this week. I'm willing to be wrong, but I don't think that'll replicate itself. You like Kincaid or Fannin in a half PPR? I would probably rather play Fannin and see what happens there. However, these guys are back-to-back basically in my rankings. I'm heavy at wide receiver with Rice and Addison. I am going to move off of Diggs plus either Coleman or Tillman. Which do you prefer? I'm going to move off of Diggs plus either Coleman or Tillman. I would rather move off of Diggs and Coleman. I think more people are excited about Coleman, but I think Coleman and Tillman, if I had to say which one has the better year at the end of the season, I think Tillman has the better year than Coleman. Egbuka or Sutton. Can't believe I have to sit one of them. My other wide receivers are Malik and Nico. Yeah, I mean, you do have to sit one of them because Malik and Nico do have to be in the lineup. I think I'm going to sit... I think I'm going to sit Igbuka. And I don't want to. That sucks, but I am going to sit Igbuka, I think. Fannin, Tillman, or Travis Hunter, start one, PPR, 1 point tight end premium. I would go Travis Hunter. I think they're scheming touches for him. I like it. I'm sure the Lions will look better once they aren't playing against the best defense in the league. Potentially. Chicago's a pretty good defense too, though. Don't sleep on Chicago's defense. Odunze, Dynasty, 8 team, start 9, full PPR, half point tight end premium. Yeah, I mean, I'm not selling him yet. In a Dynasty League, I absolutely am not selling him at this moment in time. I think he's been one of my favorite players over the whole course of the offseason. I love him as a year 2 breakout. So, yeah, I'm not selling. Morning, brother. Andrew Def not selling Odunze after last week. Yes, and speaking of which, Odunze got me a last-second touchdown on Monday Night Football that beat Shane in our home league. So that was... Not only have I been in on Odunze all offseason, but he won me my week 1 matchup while I watched my guy JJ McCarthy get that dub. So good Monday overall in general for me. Lahi says, PPR league, pick 2, Marvin Harrison, Chuba, Quentin Johnston, Jacoby Myers, Tet McMillan, and Olave. So we're throwing out, if we're only picking 2, we're throwing out Olave, we're throwing out QJ, we're throwing out Jacoby Myers. It's between Marvin, Chuba, and T-Mac for me. I think I'm going to go with Marvin and Chuba. Marcy says, still struggling with Walker, Sharps, or Mason. You still think Walker. I still think Walker over Sharp, and I still think Mason's in a committee. All of them are committee backs. I'm probably still going Walker. But I don't feel super confident in any of them. But I would probably still play Walker. I got so in the weeds with kickers this week. There's this guy on Reddit who does insane kicker projections. Felt like I was in the mad scientist lab. Love it. I've been debating on whether or not to put Jameson Williams in my flex spot over Javonte Williams, or I could bench Igbuka for JMO, or bench Hampton for Javonte and start Igbuka and Jameson. I think you have it right where it's at. I would probably play Javonte over JMO for the safety. I would play Igbuka over JMO. And I would play Hampton over Javonte. So, yeah, I think you have it right, Jay. I wouldn't be overthinking it too much right now. You have it the way I would do it. Appreciate you. Hit the like. Pearsall says, or Pearsall says, Andrew says, Pearsall or Javonte. Could you imagine if Ricky Pearsall's in the chat? Pearsall or Javonte. I still lean Pearsall, man. He's the only option. It's a bad New Orleans Saints team. I'm probably going to play him, and I'm just going to go with it. Full PPR, yeah, I think the target share is going to be insane for him this week. Don't forget, Mac Jones had Brian Thomas Jr. looking like the damn best wide receiver in football. So I think we still shouldn't be too worried about Mac Jones. But all right, folks, we have caught up. I know some people in the chat are saying it. Hit the like button. Right now we're at 11 likes on the stream. There's like 50 plus people watching right now, I think, across both X and YouTube. So if you're over on YouTube, hit that like button for me. Let's at least run that up to 15 for now. I'd like to see 25 by the end of the stream if we can get to it. But only do that if I've answered your question. I've given your question time. But I've given everybody's question time. So if you could do that for me, I greatly appreciate it. I will also, again, now that we're about the halfway point of the stream, remind people you can support this show by playing over on Underdog. All you have to do is use promo code LeagueFFB when you sign up over there. You play $5, pick some projections that you like from some of these players. If you think, Bijan's going to get a touchdown this week, pick that, put it in your pick and play, and add some things to it. Go win yourself some money this week, give you some things to root for. And by signing up using promo code LeagueFFB, you will also get a gimme pick, which is just a freebie, basically. So you think Bijan can get 1 rushing yard, it's going to be added to your play, and you'll be able to have that as part of it. So you can support the show, League FFB. if you want to just keep supporting freely, you don't want to play on Underdog, you've already signed up on Underdog. Like I said, you can just like, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff, and it does help us out. So let's get back into it. Jay says Dallas Cowboys a good survivor pick this week. I also picked up Dallas defense and was going to play them over the Texans because I'm starting Egbuka. I think they're a fine play. I have them winning this week. I agree with all of that. I think that should be fine. Rob says, how to get Hurts off someone's roster when they clearly aren't contending and need to rebuild. Offer them what they think is fair. That's the most simple thing I can think of, but you got to have those conversations with them. Blind offers don't work most of the time. Blind offers don't work. Have conversations and offer them what they think he's worth. If it's not what you think he's worth, then you can't get Hurts. That's how it is. If you think Javonte won't repeat, do you still have him over Tracy and Sampson? Yeah, I mean, for the record, I don't think he's going to repeat 2 touchdowns. That's hard to repeat. I think he can still get the workload. The workload I still think will repeat. I have him currently as my running back 22. Tracy is my running back 35. And I have Sampson as my running back 37. So I have him clearly above those 2 guys. Raul, my guy, appreciate you being here. He says flex 2. Hubbard, Egbuka, Ridley, Pollard, Hollywood, Juwan Johnson, full PPR. Well, we're going to be playing Hubbard and Egbuka. Those are the 2 that I'm flexing. Another question. Sorry if I asked too much. You can never ask too much, Richard. Ask away. Ask until your heart is content. Shakir or Pittman, PPR. Interesting. Pittman had the pretty decent week last week. The Daniel Jones Hall of Fame game, whatever. This week, I do have Shakir above Pittman. It's a decent matchup for Shakir. The Jets gave up a ton of points, 34 points to be exact, to the wide receiver position last week, and it's Josh Allen. So I'm going to go with Shakir there. Aaron says Keon Coleman or Rome in the flex, full PPR. This is an easy Rome for me. I will say, for the record, folks, we are getting a lot of Keon Coleman questions. Keon Coleman for me this week, I have him down at like wide receiver 45. I don't have Coleman very high in my rankings this week. Rome for me is a top 32 wide receiver. What is going to be the score of the Vikes game tonight? I don't really know what the score is going to be. As long as it results in a W, I'm good with that. Would like to see another good game out of McCarthy. I think now where I'm at with it is like we got the jitters out of the way. We got the W out of the way, the comeback victory. Let's put together 4 quarters of decent football. That's all I want. We had the bad first half from McCarthy, and then the second half we got it together. I want to see 4 quarters of good football. That's all I want. And let's get a W. So as long as we win, it's the first home game. Expect it to be a much, much less hostile environment than it was there in Chicago. That was the loudest I've heard that Chicago stadium in a long time. But that's all I want. If I'm projecting a win, though, for the Vikes. Trade I made, moving Kamara, leaves a running back hole open this week. Start or sit Braylon Allen or Tyler Algier, full PPR. It's Braylon for me. Braylon's more involved than Algier is, I think, from a neutral game script standpoint. So I would be playing Braylon. Just a Food Guy says blind offers absolutely work if you send respectable offers. It shows you understand the value and are not looking for a steal. That's part of the key. As you heard, I said you have to send something that they want, and you have to have those conversations. When you have conversations with people, that it just makes it easier. You can say, hey, I'm offering or I have these guys that I've been shopping around. Are you interested in any of them? If you have that conversation, you know who they like and who they don't like. You don't have to waste time sending blind offers. I think if you want to be efficient with it, have the conversation and then send a respectable offer. But yeah, I mean, that is the biggest piece, Food Guy, is if you're sending bullshit offers, people don't give a fuck. Like, people don't care. So it is what it is. So don't send bullshit. Sampson, Mason, or Sharp, PPR, pick one. Good question, Joseph. It's not Sampson for me. It's going to be between Sharp and Mason, and I think I'm going to go with Sharp over Mason. I actually have those two in the flex. I just wanted another perspective. Yeah, I mean, those are easy picks for me. I like that. Good morning, brother. Picked one wide receiver, Ridley, Metcalf, or London. Juwan Strange for tight end. So I'm easily going London. London's my play. He's in the lineup. I'm playing him no matter what. For the tight end, that's funny that you asked that question because I have been sitting here for 2 days in a DFS, a DraftKings cash lineup, debating, do I want Strange or do I want Juwan Johnson? Because they're about the same cost, and I've been going back and forth between the two. I will say this morning I officially went with Juwan Johnson over Strange in that cash lineup. So that's what I will be doing. If you want to tail with me, Will, I went Juwan over Strange. But they're back-to-back for me. Jacoby Myers or Tyreek Hill in a full PPR. I will be going with Tyreek Hill. He doesn't have the floor that Jacoby does. Obviously, Jacoby has the floor, but Tyreek's ceiling is just much higher. We know that. Chase McLaughlin or Evan McPherson. You think McPherson scores more because of the shootout potential matchup, or does McLaughlin score more because it's a tough matchup and they may have to kick more? Let's see. I don't pull these kicker rankings out often, but when I do, I have to reference them. I do have McLaughlin higher than I have McPherson this week. So I guess my answer for you is going to be McLaughlin. Dynasty trade from Connor. He says, give Hunter and a third for Igbuka and Jalen Warren. Could start Warren over Sharbs, but not ready to put Igbuka the same as Hunter quite yet. It's a good question. I'll be real. I think I am at the point where like Hunter and Igbuka are the same for me. Jalen for the third. I just don't care for Jalen Warren that much. This is tough. I'll be honest. I don't know if I can pick one way over the other strongly. I think maybe Igbuka and Warren would be the side that I go. But if you had prior hopes about Hunter, the usage was looking pretty decent in week 1. I'd like to see how it looks in week 2. It's week 2 and injuries have already decided my sit-start options for me. Why do I like this game again? I'm sorry to hear that you're struggling with injuries. I also have a couple injuries in a league that have not been fun. I lost Kittle in a league last week. I want to say it's a dynasty league that had Joe Mixon in the offseason, so that is something that I haven't had. I had Addison on suspension. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm sitting multiple guys out due to injuries and suspensions that it ain't fun. And it's week 2. Flex full PPR, Sutton, Kamara, Jacoby Myers with the potential for Bowers to be out or limited, or Jerry Jeudy. So Jacob, what I'm hearing is I think Bowers is going to play. So between Sutton, Kamara, and Jeudy is kind of what I'm looking at. I'm just going to go Sutton and Kamara. Or I guess it's not pick 2, it's pick 1. So between Kamara and Sutton is where I'm looking. And if I have to pick between the two, I'm going to go with Sutton. What up, King? What up, King? What up to you, man? Who for my wide receiver 1 and 2 in flex spot? Devontae Adams, Hollywood, Calvin Austin, Quentin Johnston, Keyshawn Bodie, Trevion Henderson, Nick Chubb, and Zach Charbonnet. Wow. It's kind of tough, honestly. It teared off very quick. I thought we were going somewhere with Adams. It's going to be Adams and Hollywood for me. Those are going to be the two that I play in the flex spot. Give me Henderson. Those are going to be the 2. Or I guess the 3. Second league, who for my running back 1 and 2 in flex spot? So Kyron, Javonte, Kamara, James Cook, Stevenson, Quentin, Travis Hunter, or DJ Moore. So the running back 1 and 2, I'm going Kyron and James Cook. Those would be the 2. I'm between Kamara and I think Travis Hunter for the flex, but I think I'm going to go Kamara. Am I going to go Kamara? Yeah, I'm going to go Kamara. Give me Kamara, Kyron, and James Cook. Swift or Iomanner this week. Full PPR. Those targets for Ellick. I'm still going to go Swift. Dave says full PPR. Who would you start at the flex? Pickens, Shakir, Benson, or Judy? Give me Pickens there. Jay says, I guess I just believe in Igbuka a lot more than Hunter long term. Kind of the same. A-Rod says, bro, Vikes defense is beat up this week. They're a little bit beat up. I don't think that they're like bad because they're beat up this week. Obviously, I would like to see Van Ginkel in the lineup. That's not there. Harrison Smith's still not there. So those are two big pieces. But I don't think they're going to be bad to the point of missing those guys. Cashman, too. Are you sure you still like Bo over Penix? Also, who would you pick between May and Penix? Yes, I still like Bo over Penix. Would I go May over Penix? Yes, I would. So I have May as my QB 10. I have Bo as my QB 11. And Penix for me is my QB 20. Good morning, brother. Much love. Start David Montgomery, Keenan Allen, or J.K. Dobbins, half PPR. Good morning to you. Much love to you too, Ronnie. I'm going to be going here with, I think I'm going to go Montgomery in a half PPR league. Hopefully he can get into the end zone this week. I'm playing him in one of my leagues. Hopefully we can get there together. Juan says, who for the wide receiver 2? Njigba, Travis Hunter, Quentin Johnson, or DJ Moore? It's JSN for me quite heavily. I think JSN is going to be great this week still. Super chat here from Dame. Dame, appreciate you, dude. $4.99. He says, Herbert or Hurts? Also a trade question. So I guess let's answer this first question here. That's a reminder, folks. If you do want to skip the line, you don't want to wait, for me to get all the way caught up, make sure to super chat. That's the best way to do it. So Dame, between Hurts and Herbert, I have Hurts 3 spots higher. I'm going to go Hurts for the quarterback. The trade question, you have Henry, Chuba, Barkley, and Gibbs in your dynasty. You got offered Monty/Pacheco for Henry. Would you accept? No. Because if you have Henry, Chuba, and Barkley and Gibbs, you're in this contending window. And I think nobody here is going to outscore you more than Henry will for the most part. I think Gibbs and Barkley obviously are going to be very high-end running backs, but I'd be playing all of them. I'd be trying to flex as many of them as I can. So no, I wouldn't be taking that trade. Let's go back to Connor. Connor says, yeah, one league I have Goddard, Kittle, and Addison all out, so I have to start Walker and Sharps. Well, you get the whole backfield, I guess. Glass half full. Marcy says, hit the like already. Appreciate you, Andrew. Appreciate you, Marcy. Thank you for being here. Fannin or Juwan Johnson? I like Juwan Johnson more this week. Start one, Mayfield, Stafford, or grab Herbert from the waiver wire and dump one of the two above, full PPR. I would absolutely be dumping Stafford for Herbert. Very, very much. And I would be starting Herbert this week over Mayfield. Mayfield right now is my QB 12. Herbert is my QB 7. My other league flex, I just scrolled up and now I lost it. My other league flex, who should I start? Metcalf, Booty, Tillman, or Calvin Austin? Also, who do I go at my tight end, Ferguson or Jonnu? I would be starting Metcalf, and then I would be starting Ferguson. Thank you again, brother. One more question for PPR. Do I start Quentin Johnston, Tillman, Jordan Mason, or Tracy? Start one. I think that's what it is. So PPR, you start Quentin Johnston, Tillman, Jordan Mason, or Tracy. So I'm going to go with Tillman here. It's between Tillman and Mason, but I'm going to go Tillman. I think they just throw the football too much in this game against Baltimore, playing from behind. I think he's in for a pretty decent day. Hey, man, just wanted to say thanks a ton for helping me set my lineups. Definitely appreciate you a ton, brother. I appreciate you too, Jay. I mean, everybody who comes in and hangs out values my opinion. It means a lot to me. I like spending time with you guys, so it's just fun to be here and sit and talk about the games and talk fantasy football. So thank you for being here too. It's no big deal for me. Thanks, Big Dog from Dave. A-Rod says 20. He's so good, bro. Yeah. It's tough. There's a lot of good quarterbacks in the NFL, man. Like, the top 12 guys for me, like, you think of Fields and you have guys like Allen and Burrow and Hurts and Herbert and Daniels and Dak and all of these other players. And it's like, all right, now we're already kind of in like that 13 to 20 range. pick and choose where you want, look at the matchups how you want. That's just kind of where I'm at with him. I get it, though. I get it. Everybody has their guy. Marcy says, streaming a defense, I tried to get the Ravens and lost him to my opponent. Lions or Bills are the two best left. Do you have a preference? Yes, I do have a preference between the two. And when I'm looking, Baltimore Ravens would have been a good one, by the way. They're my number 4 overall ranked defense. I do have Detroit at number 9. Buffalo is number 13. And that feels a little bit scary because you do think that Justin Fields is more turnover prone than Caleb Williams, maybe. But I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions defense there this week. Last week I started Penix over May and I cashed out with it. I think we would have to run it back. Was hoping you would agree. I hear you. Maybe we're just differing here. I get it. But at the end of the day, I will tell you this. I love that you guys are coming in here and asking my opinion. My opinion is always going to be well researched for you guys. I'm never going to give you guys some BS. But these are your teams. These are your fantasy football teams. So if you come in, you get an opinion from me, you hear it, you're like, hey, makes sense, but I still want to play this guy. Always listen to your gut. Always listen to your teams, because at the end of the day, I can tell you what you want to hear. I can tell you what you don't want to hear. You're going to be more upset if you have a gut feeling and you listen to me than if you, and it's wrong, or if you get what I'm saying? I'm trying to get here and tell you. Basically, I'm just saying, if you have a feeling, A-Rod, as much as I feel like I trust my rankings, which I do, I just would say, trust your gut. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't want that to sound bad, or I don't want that to sound wrong. Does that make sense to you, A-Rod? Tell me I'm not tripping here. Brando says, Superflex 0 or 0.04 points per yard PPR. Would you start May, Caleb, or Fields? I would be playing Justin Fields. He's the highest in my rankings this week. I have him as my QB6. Selly, 14-man, full PPR. I have McBride as my tight end 1, and we run double flex, and I have Hollywood Brown as my 1 flex. Who do I start at the other one? Juwan Johnson or DeAndre Swift versus Detroit? I would rather play DeAndre Swift, personally. Where does Dak rank for you this week? Currently, in my 4-point passing touchdown rankings, Dak is my QB9. I have him as a top 10 guy. Seti or Downs? Cedric Tillman. He's the play for me, Corey. Is it safe to start Goff this week or pick one of Tua, Rodgers, Stafford, or Daniel Jones from the waivers? Oh, man. Is it safe to start Goff? I don't feel super confident in Goff, but I do like him more than all of those options. Goff is my QB 18. Rodgers is QB 23. Tua is QB 24. Jones is QB 22. Stafford is 25. So all of those guys are outside of my top 20. Jared Goff is just inside of my top 20. Totally makes sense, Andrew. Rankings give stability and common sense a lot of the time, but we all know that we all know that almost anything can happen on Sundays. Exactly. Here's the thing, man. Like, I will spend hours. It's really on Tuesdays. Tuesdays is when I go in and do like my biggest deep dive into the rankings, and I'm looking at matchups and points allowed and things like that. And that's when I'm really trying to iron out, wide receiver 22 versus wide receiver 25. But the reason why I like to, on this channel, do tiers is because the reality between a guy who's wide receiver 22 and a guy who's wide receiver 25 most weeks is probably just decibels of a point, right? Like it's not even a full point some weeks between those guys. So it's really tough, and it's really tedious and tiresome sometimes to sit there and rank out those wide receivers from a numeric standpoint. And that's because, like you said, every Sunday something else can happen. But I like to view these guys in tiers, and I like to kind of go through and do it for you guys. But at the end of the day, if you're trying to pick between a guy who I have at 22 and a guy who I have at 25, oftentimes those players are in the same tiers, the same range of outcomes. So if you want to trust your gut, I don't hate you going at 25. I don't hate you going at the guy at 22. I don't hate you going at the guy at 24. So that's kind of just where I'm at with it. The rankings are good, like you said, to reference, to look at, to have from a stability standpoint, but they're not the end all be all. It is what it is sometimes. Ronnie, my guy, appreciate you with the super chat. $5. He says, thank you for your knowledge. You are amazing, brother. Ronnie, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting the show. It means a lot to me. Truly grateful. Thank you. Let's see. Raul says, my gut is rarely right, so I go here for confirmation. I love it. I love it. Use me as a soundboard. Use me as that person where you're like, hey, I'm trying to decide between this and this. I've already eliminated these options. I'm kind of feeling this way. Andrew, what do you think? Hear my thoughts, hear my process, and then you're like, that makes sense. I'm going this way. Or you're like, I don't really like the argument that you just presented. I'm going with my gut. That's all this is, man. It's a game we play. Sometimes I think there is a small group of people that take this shit just a little too seriously sometimes. You'll have every once in a while a few people in the fantasy football community. Usually they're not people who are consistently a part of our community here, but they'll be like, you told me to start this guy and he didn't score more than the guy I told you about, so you're an idiot. I don't like you, blah, 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 blah. That's fine, buddy. I'm not shooting 100%. Nobody's shooting 100% here, so let's just have fun, man. Let's play this game. I'll give you my opinion. Take it or don't take it. It's no big deal to me. There's no hard feelings. Is there ever a time to just be happy with your team, or am I just addicted to trying to make deals? I think the time to be happy with your team is Championship Sunday in Week 17 after you've won, and you're like, this team won the championship, and now you're done. On to next year, ready to go. So maybe not. I think I'm the same way as you, always looking at it and like, I could improve here. I don't like that. Maybe I need to try and move this guy. It's a never-ending cycle. Andre, my guy, good to see you here this morning. He says flex Pollard or Javonte in a full PPR. Right now, I have them back-to-back in my rankings. Tony Pollard in a tough matchup against the Los Angeles Rams. Javonte in a good matchup against the New York Giants. I think I'm going to go Javonte there. All right. We're at about 45 minutes. Sorry, I'm getting out of focus there because I'm leaning back too far. We're at about 45 minutes here. Seems like some of the questions are slowing down a little bit. So we're approaching game time here. Sorry, didn't mean to click that again. I will say, throw in some of those questions, folks. I'm going to scroll real quick just to make sure we don't have any updated news while we've been streaming that I've missed. And we'll try and get these last questions in here because we are approaching game time. And I would like to figure out what's for lunch before these games. So that's what I'm going to go do. And I probably need to tinker some lineups because I tinker my lineups the same way you guys do. Raul with the super chat. Appreciate you, man. He says, thank you for all of the hard work and info. Grab an energy drink for your Sunday football. Thank you so much, Raul. I appreciate it. And it makes me happy that you remember that I'm the energy drink guy. I'm not the coffee guy or the other guy. So appreciate you so much, Raul. Thank you for being a part of this community for a long time. You know, you've been a guy that's been around here for a while, so I appreciate that. All right, so it does look like right now there is really no added information. I mean, we have Worthy, who they said that he's looking good, ready to play in week 3. Jalen Wright out. We knew that. Taylor Decker, left tackle for the Lions, good to go in this game. Didn't expect him to miss time. Jaden Blue, a healthy scratch again. Not great, but we did kind of expect that. Juwan Jennings is active. Yeah, I mean, it looks all pretty normal as what we expected for the most part. Nothing surprising here for the most part. So, yeah, that's where we're at. Steven says, PPR, you got 2 flex spots. DJ Moore, Waddle, Kenneth Walker, Cup, DJ Moore. Deciding between Waddle and Walker. I mean, I'm not playing Cup. I'm going DJ Moore. And I think I'm going Waddle over Walker. I'm going Moore and Waddle, personally. Vidor says Goff, May, Williams, or Daniel Jones in the super flex. I'm assuming that's Caleb Williams. He says leaning May and Goff. I would be going with May for certain, but I'm going Caleb Williams over Jared Goff. So I would go Caleb Williams and Drake May. PPR, Olave, Tillman, or Ridley, and tight ends, Strange or Fannin. I'm going Strange over Fannin at the tight end for Tillman, Ridley, and Olave. Where do I have Olave again this week? Crazy. Back to back to back. I have Olave at 38, Tillman at 39, and Ridley at 40. So I'm going Olave. MK says Penix or Jones. I got a gut feeling on Jones because he's looked really good last week. I know I have Penix at 20. Where do I have Jones? I think I just said his a little bit lower. I would be going with Penix. Penix would be my play. Yo, my guy, Flex 2, PPR, Pickens, Hollywood, Keenan, KW3. I am going to go with Pickens as the first flex. I don't really want to play Kenneth Walker this week. I want to see this get ironed out a little bit more. I'm going to go Hollywood. Give me Hollywood and Pickens. Smurf says Goff versus the Bears or Mahomes versus the Eagles, and Njoku versus the Ravens or Juwan Jennings versus the 49ers. I'm going to go with Mahomes versus the Eagles over Goff, and then I think I have Njoku higher. Let me double check. I don't actually. It's Juwan Johnson. I have Juwan Johnson higher just by a few spots. So give me Juwan Johnson and give me Mahomes. I don't blame you if you still want to sneak Njoku into that lineup, though. Let's go with Chivalry King. Says Ferguson or Fannin Jr. in a standard league. Okay, now we're cooking. I got to swap these rankings, though, because I have... It's Fannin and Ferguson? I have Fannin higher, actually, by one spot than Ferguson in a standard league. Smurf says, thanks, bro. No problem, Smurf. Thank you for being here. All right. We're at 20 likes, folks. If you could hit the like button for me, if I've answered your question today, if you feel like, you spent some time here, you've enjoyed spending some time with me this morning, I'd appreciate you guys hitting that like button. I'd like to see us get to 25. That would be a cool little benchmark to hit. And let's call in those final calls on the questions. I'm going to go for about 5 more minutes. I'm going to go for about 5 more minutes of being live, and then we'll wrap this up. So final call, if you don't get those questions in the last 5 minutes, out of luck, I guess, because the games are starting. Caleb says, Tyreek or ETN in a full PPR buzzer beater. Gotta come to my guy. I like it. As I'm sitting here saying the last 5 minutes. So Tyreek or ETN in a full PPR. I will say I'm not super high on Tyreek this week. I just don't know what to take about Tyreek. I think they're going to win this game. I would play ETN. I think ETN is the guy that I'd be playing. Can I flex Diggs this week? I think you can. The targets were there last week. They were fine. He's still recovering from that ACL, but that's going to take some time. I probably would be fine flexing him. I have him in that flex range territory of like guys like Keenan, Tillman, Ridley, Diggs. I have him with that group of guys. Any news on London? The news that I've had for London, obviously it's going to be a little bit later, but it does seem like he's trending towards playing. Let me just pull up one more just to double check, but it does seem like he's playing. Seems like Drake London and Darnell Mooney are expected to play in week 2. So I think he's going to be in. He's going to be playing. So we should be there, Anthony. And Caleb confirms that as well. Yeah, he is playing. Would you drop Worthy straight up in a shallow league with really good waiver options for someone like Romo Dunze, Debo, Olave, Judy, Hunter, Diggs, Jacoby, who might have better outlook? I'd think about it. I would like to see how he looks this week. If Worthy doesn't look great this week, then I would consider dropping him for Odunze. I like Odunze, man. I know, or Hunter even. I think Travis Hunter potentially too, depending on how he looks this week. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I keep saying to you folks, I like Odunze. I think Odunze is prime for a year 2 breakout. Week 1 was good. We got the garbage time touchdown. I get it. But I think he's the guy that I'm still getting very high on. I think it's going to get better and better over the course of the year. Idub says, yo, sit one. DJ Moore, Pearsall, Myers. Thanks. Ooh. Let's go. I'm going to sit Myers. And I'm going to play DJ Moore and Pearsall. Yo, man, been a while. Who'd you start in the flex, Jennings or Dobbins in a PPR format? Yeah, it has been a while, Jonathan. Good to see you back around. Who would I start between Jennings and Dobbins? I think I would rather go with Dobbins. Jennings getting banged up over and over again. It kind of is concerning to me. I do think that Pearsall can have a big day, but I don't know if Mac Jones is going to spread the football around the football field. I think it's more so Pearsall than it is Jennings. So give me Dobbins this week. And all right, I don't know if that's fully 5 minutes, but we have caught up. We are at the end. We're 1 like away. Somebody who hasn't hit that like button, hit the damn like button for me, folks. Give me the 25, man. I'd appreciate it. It's not the end all be all, but it's just nice, like I said. That being said, folks, we are going to wrap it up here. If you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Go join the free Discord. We do have a free Discord where we do a lot of stuff with this community. I love interacting with you guys, hanging out with you guys. We've been doing a Pick'em League this year, which is very fun. It's the first time that we've done it. We're going to do more stuff over the next little while, over the course of the year and stuff. So appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you guys get those lineups set, get that ready. I see we hit 25. Thank you guys. But other than that, have a good week too. I will see you guys tomorrow for some more content, waivers, things like that. And we'll be ready to roll, man. This season, we got to get going. Man. So appreciate you. Jonathan says, see you next time. Peace out. So yeah, see you guys next time. Peace out.